So in just a tip, we're going to be working on pre-prepping our ride. There's a couple different ways to do it. Some people like the lunge or turn the horse loose, do a variety of different things, side reins. English roll does their thing, Western roll does their thing. We're going to do just a tip of bridle work and how that leads into so many different things. And it's like knocking out two birds with one stone. Work on ground manners and you pre-prep your ride. So Argento and I are going to work on that today. All right, one of the first things I like to look for is my horse forward? But with that, I definitely want them to be responsive. I'm using this bridle here. It's a very shallow, mild port. It flexes, it moves. I can work independently with the reins, so it's not like a standard rigid port bit. It will actually, I can flex him. I can work on lateral movement. What I think about when I go to work my horses is, what do I want to do that day? This being Monday, he had a great week last week. We gave him the weekend off. I like to kind of ease into the week. What did I do well last week? What did I not do well last week? So I think about, all right, Argento, you were dropping your shoulder a little bit. Your hind end, we cleaned up the lead changes last week, but I think we could work on your shoulder control a little more fluidly. First things first, forward. For me, everyone's training methods is different and techniques are different. Whatever works for you and your horse is what's important. For me, I want the horses thinking forward and relaxed. If they're not relaxed, not thinking forward, trust me, that's where a lot of your issues will come from. So I use the whip if I need to reinforce my clock, extension of my arm, but I want him to go forward. And I may just do a simple, disengage on the hindquarters, pick up the rein, move the hip out, release. At the same time, like I mentioned in the video before, his shoulders were a little tight. He was a little rigid here in his neck, so I want to send him forward, keep him a little straighter, and move the shoulders around, and then back to the hip. When I do shoulder work, I want to make sure I always reconnect with the hindquarters. What can happen is you may get the horse doing some really cool stuff, and you're like, I'm the most amazing trainer in the world, and now you just lost basically steering control in a way sometimes. They can start to drift or do things with their shoulders. So I may, move the shoulder over, now give me your hip. What that leads into will help me with control and direction, with keeping the horse very, very straight for lateral movement, flying lead changes, sliding stops, counter pirouettes, any of the bigger, more advanced maneuvers. And this leads to so many different fun things you can do. At the same time, I'm teaching my horse ground manners, and you can play some games with them. This is, eventually they'll start to respond to my body position. So you can get into stuff to where you're not touching the horse, and I'm moving them around, which is my body language, and you become a showman. Then you're like those guys that go out there and demonstrate out of the expos, and they're the most amazing shows in the world. A lot of how you can teach that too is basically doing this every single day. I can feel what my horse is stiff, their behavior, how they feel. Are they forward thinking? Are they relaxed? Drive them forward, move the shoulder, go to the hip. Just simple exercises like that will change their mindset. And it's an amazing way to connect with your horse, and it's a lot of fun, to be honest with you. That's just a tip for today. If you have any questions, go to the comment section, reach out to us. Happy to show you where this leads to different maneuvers, different disciplines, and we'll actually get on the horse and I'll demonstrate on some different animals as well.